My name is Gabriella Calendar, and welcome to today's Face to Face. Today's March 24th, 12:30 p.m. And on this show, we speak with Ron Hantz about housing and cooperatives. Ron Hantz is the executive director of the Network for Developing Conscious Communities, that's NDCC. And Ron has dedicated his life's purpose to elevating the Black consciousness in community development. Ron, welcome to Face to Face.
Well, thank you, Gabrielle. I'm happy, delighted to be here.
Yeah, well, we're so happy to have you here. When I see that you have dedicated your life to Black consciousness, like that is a big statement. And I have worked with you a little bit to know that that statement is true. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to and and the development of Black communities in this time, post COVID, post George Floyd, all of that?
Well, yes, we're in a post-COVID pandemic time, and certainly post-George COVID, but we're also in a pre-pandemic time, and so this has been an ongoing story being written out by Black folks in terms of echoing out the need for self-reliance, self-independence, self-awareness, self-directed activity that promotes our individual and collective agenda around self-sufficiency. And so I've been in this work, and I like to think that yes, I've dedicated my recent life to it, but I've been in this space for a while, exploring ways to augment and share the importance of Black folks working collectively together to build out an ecosystem that supports our economic, social, and spiritual well-being. I've come into the space as a practitioner of metaphysics, and so I bring my metaphysical teachings into this work. Um, and so,
Mm-hmm.
I certainly align this work with my spiritual work around growth, conscious development. And so I see that as a paramount of where we are in the Black community in elevating this work consciously
Mm-hmm.
and working at building a conscious revitalization of values, perspectives, and an agenda that addresses us as a people collectively.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Ron, a lot of what I do during the day is really consulting people with the various businesses and their startups, nonprofits, LLCs, and then recently cooperatives. Can you tell us a little bit about the importance of cooperatives and why Black cooperatives are so necessary and relevant at this time?
Well, let's go back almost 300 years in terms of the formation of cooperatives, which weren't called but at that time, but there was a cooperative principle to which people were working around, and that was having a collective agenda around addressing collective needs, working at how we work collectively to sustain ourselves. And so today we find ourselves still in that space of trying to work and build out this collective agenda, this conscious collective agenda, I like to call it, around how we are building out a framework to really address our collective needs. We've known and still are victims of racism in this country, and so with that, as the paramount of the segue where we at, it's important that we recognize that yes, racism is here, and it may be here for as long as we as participate in this white dominated society. But that doesn't prohibit us from working collectively together to build out a collective agenda around what is best for us as a people and how we can bring others along this journey with us.
Mhm. I remember Dr. John Henrik Clark said, "Oh, Marx was a Johnny come lately," because we've been doing this since the beginning, back to our roots, back in Africa. And then when I mention cooperatives to a lot of our people, for a lot of folks, it's the first time that they're hearing that word. But what I'm hearing you say is it's just getting back naturally to how we care for each other. For the person who doesn't understand what cooperative really is, and I know that you elaborated and took us back and talked a little bit about it, but can you say a little bit more? Like if someone says, well, I don't know what that is, I would like to do that. How do I do that?
Well, in the context of terminology, we've attached the term cooperative to the work, but the work has really been ongoing for centuries in terms of people joining together to work collectively together on collective agenda. And so in recent years, yes, we've attached this term cooperative to this work, but this work has been the steadfast of the Black community and other indigenous communities for centuries. And so we have echoed out and chiseled out a framework that we say, yes, in modern day time, we attach the term cooperative to it, but really this work has been ongoing for centuries in terms of people being able to work together to achieve a collective agenda. I mean, when we look back at the end of enslavement and us moving into ownership of land, we shared crop together. And when we look at the development of Black townships, we worked at developing collective businesses that supported our communities. And so that's why Greenville, Oklahoma, which is known as Black Wall Street, developed, Rosewood developed, because there was a need that we identified for us to support ourselves and support ourselves in a conscious way.
Yeah. And I see that on April 6th, from April 6th to April 8th, you could see the slide there. David, I don't know if the slide is up. I shared it. There is the Black Cooperative Agenda, the National Conference on the Black Cooperative Agenda, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, okay? And outside of that, building cooperative capacity through conscious practices. And the website for that, to register for that, is, Ron, will you tell us where people can go to plug in to the
Yes,
National Conference for the Black Cooperative
yes,
Agenda?
yes, I will. You can visit our website at www.ndccnetwork.org. Again, www.ndccnetwork.org. And you can go to there, pull down the menu item for the conference, and it gives you all the particulars around the sessions, what's going to be happening on each day. We have loaded up information about the speakers. And so we're expecting to have a real robust uh, 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 3 days of intentional work around building out sustainable Black cooperatives.
That's fantastic. So again, that's the National Conference on the Black Cooperative Agenda that's happening April 6th to April 8th. And Ron, if people aren't able to make this, what are other ways that people can plug in?
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to live stream this conference out um, because we did a live stream in September, and we
Mm-hmm.
feel though it's important for folks to overcome this pandemic and get back in the space of connecting and convening. And so that's what we're promoting at this for this particular conference is the networking of getting back together and getting into a space of networking and connecting with each other. And so, unfortunately, we're not live streaming out, but we will be taping and posting the tapes after the conference.
Got you. And okay, so you'll be posting them on the website, right?
Yes,
On the
yes,
NDCC website.
on our YouTube.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
So you got that. It's going to be on the National Network for Development Conscious Communities, NDCC. Check out their YouTube site. Ron, quick question. So let's say for one of the people that I mentor for startups, and they're thinking of doing, oh, I want to start up a LLC or a corporation. And then I mention cooperatives, and they're like, I don't know the very first thing to do to even, what do I do? I never heard of that before. What would you tell that person?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a robust ecosystem in place where we can give out resources in terms of who's doing the work. But we do offer a Black Co-opinomics Academy, which will be starting on April the 16th. And so that's, again, is listed on our website, it www.ndccnetwork.org. You can go there, register for our upcoming Cooperative Economics Academy. But
Mm-hmm.
also too, there are other groups around, green workers up in New York and others that are doing this work around intentionally educating the community about cooperatives. So I know that it sometimes looks like it's hidden information, but if you seek it out, you'll find it just by Googling Black cooperatives. I'm quite sure that you'll come up with a host of organizations that are providing this work in terms of educating groups of individuals around cooperatives.
And for the Black dollar in the community, let's say even in New York, and I don't have those numbers today, do we know how much of the money from Black communities get fed into the United States ecosystem, or a percentage?
Well, a great percentage of it. The Black dollar only has an 8-hour turnaround in the Black community.
Wow.
So with after 8 hours, it's gone, and it's out into the mainstream ethers of the economic structures of this country. So that's why it's important to work at building collective cooperatives, building with a community focus, and so we can recirculate those dollars back into community-owned businesses that can create jobs and economic opportunities for local residents, and that we can see the building of our dollars going to building our communities.
That's so fantastic. Yeah, we see a lot of money, that we spend a lot of money that we don't see the return or the investment, on that dollar that we've spent. It goes out into communities that are not our own. And that's why the national conference on the Black cooperative agenda is so very important. And that's why you talk about convening, coming together, building our networks. That's why it's so important. What do you think is the main reason that keeps us from doing that?
Well, it's somewhat a little of ignorance and a little of the trauma that we've gone through.
Mhm.
And the trauma that we've gone through has embedded in us a mistrust of each other. And so we have to really work through that traumatization and get to a point where we are working at trusting each other and believing in each other. And so that's the work that we try to do in terms of elevating consciousness in the work in this work that we do is building that trust factor, and building it out widespread so that folks can understand that without the trust that needs to come by way of working with each other, we just aren't going to be able to face up to all the challenges that we are confronted with. So trust is a big issue, but yeah, trust has been undermined by a lot of the trauma that we've gone through.
Folks, we're speaking with Ron Hantz, Executive Director of NDCC, here today on Face to Face, hosted by Presenza Magazine, online global magazine, with around 10 million views per year. Presenza. Ron, I just want to say thank you so much for coming here today, sharing yourself with us, sharing about the Black Cooperative Agenda, April 6th to April 8th. And please, will you come back and be a guest again on Face to Face and keep us posted with what our communities are up to? Makes me
Yes,
proud.
I would love to. Thank you for
Fantastic.
having me, and have a great, fantastic day.
You do the same. Take care, Ron.
Bye.
Have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you next time around. This is Gabriella Callender again on Face to Face. Good day.